What's up? Let's see if this is better. No, I don't like that. Let's see how this works. No, I don't like that either. Sorry, I'm just floating with some various. Let's see. Got some books here. All right, there we go. I mean, the Earl sign is inoperable right now. I had to borrow it for a secret shoot. Let's promote it a little bit. Let's see what's going on here. Share. Let's go. We're off to a rocky start here. I'm used to having my sign right there, but I am. I had to take it somewhere, doing a secret. I could still. That's not the same. It's not the same. You'll just have to get my Kiss autographed CD and my Steve Stevens doll right there. Background's a little rough today. Sorry, boys. Sorry, boys. But, and I just had to do a voiceover thing. So, let's talk AEW Dynamite. I just thought, I'm trying to be a little bit better on the YouTube. I've already lost one person. Last night was the Blood and Guts, almost pay-per-view level card. It was in Boston, TD Garden, which is a big venue for AEW. So I was curious to see how it would go. And the crowd was hot. I mean, I'm not a big fan of people from Boston. Most of them are out of control. But for a wrestling event, they brought it. Let me put one more book on, let's see here. I have a stack of books that I use for various things. What up, William Zoom, my number one fan. Let's see how this goes. A little bit better. Not too much, to be honest. Oh, yeah, this is all right. Sorry you have to look up at my nose. But I checked it for no boogers. No boogers. So the first match was Jungle Boy defeated Hook for the TNT, the FTW championship, I think it's called. I'm digging. No, well, to be honest with you, William, hold on, I'm getting a text from Chad Zumach. We'll get to that later. The sign is working, but well, I guess I can let the cat out of the bag. I'm doing a special, and it's kind of a little on the innovative side, I think and hope. And it is going to be like the first part of the special is a documentary / mockumentary on why I don't have a special. So, and then we do the special at a, as of yet, undetermined site. And last week we shot the beginning of the special let's just say it's an homage to one of my favorite movies of all time. So um, I'll give these guys a plug. They're not paying me. Bang Energy is the unofficial sponsor of this episode of YouTube Live. I'm just trying to get my 4,000 hours, and I'm trying to do it right. Someone told me, well, a scam with the 4,000 hours of content is you just press your YouTube channel before you go to bed. So are you using the sign? Yes, I am using the sign. You'll see. It will hopefully, I might have to get a bigger sign for the special, like if I want it hanging behind me. I'm assuming if that was $496, a bigger sign would be at least 1,000. And I'm paying for my special out of my own money. I'm not asking for GoFundMe or Kickstarter, and because I realize my fan base is big enough where people probably would donate a fair amount of money, but I'm going to pay for it myself. I have several guardian angels helping me, and not financially, but in terms of, hey, once you get it shot and done, we can pitch it to certain networks and whatnot. So be on the lookout, an Earl Skakel comedy special. Because people ask me all the time, dude, you've been doing comedy 23 years, you don't have an hour. I don't want to release a special just to put it out. I have no interest in that. I have a friend of mine who just put out a special, and he had backing from major people, and it was just him on a stage doing good jokes. Excuse me. But literally no one talked about it because it just looked like everyone else's special. Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know how to do that. I had a friend of mine helping me do that, just the audio only. Because I even asked her, what if I just put out 5 episodes a week, audio only? And, that'd be kind of a good way to bring Inappropriate Earl back. Because I do miss doing it. I just got sick of not that I was doing it for money. I wasn't. If I was doing Inappropriate Earl for money, I would have stopped after 5 episodes. But I just, I think I'm 360 episodes in. I'd like to make a few bucks at it. I'm not saying I want to make it into the Best Friends podcast or, something of that nature. But, so I'm working on that. And I thought, oh, well, that'd be a good way if I release the audio only episodes, maybe 5 a week. People will get back into it, and then I could start doing new episodes. I've already got, like, George LaRock, the hockey player, said he would do it. Aaron Volpati, I'm reading his book. And it's a great story. This is he's a NHL player with a fascinating story. And so I'm working on things. I'm the furthest thing from lazy, but, there are some obstacles I'm trying to overcome. And I can assure you, when I do get to 4,000 hours, because I already have double the subscribers that you need. I think you need 1,000. I'm pretty close to 2,000, which is not that impressive. But when you see like Kevin Brennan has over 10,000, I think Who Are These Podcasts is like 20,000 subscribers. That is. But I'm not going to turn my podcast or my live streams into a Jerry Lewis telethon. Give me money, give me money. But what? It will be nice to make a few dollars. To I don't know. Everyone likes to get paid for their work. This has nothing to do with AEW, so sorry about that. For you 2 people listening, going, when are you going to get to the freaking results? So the first match was Jungle Boy and Hook. And I'm really kind of starting to dig this new evil Jungle Boy. You know, the growing out the beard, wearing the hair back. You know, I mean, he's not talking like him, but he kind of reminded me of a bad Razor Ramon. And you can tell he's probably like the nicest guy on earth. Um, yeah, no, I know. And I'm trying to post a little bit more, like doing energy drink reviews and whatnot. So if anyone knows how to um, post audio only episodes, let me know. Off air, I don't want to bore people with that stuff. You can DM me on Twitter or Instagram. What's up, Ian Hawk, the newest $20 Patreon member? I'm not trying to do this at the same time. It just hit me that, oh, shit, Zumach and Kevin are doing their um, podcast right about now. What time is it? Yeah, 12:55. I think Chad's about to start. Um, I'm not trying to like steal listeners or whatever. So if you are, this is how bad I am at promoting. If you are a regular listener of Chad or Kevin or Patrick Melton, go over there. You know, I'm not trying to steal listeners, but I'm trying to just post more. And since I am an AEW fan, I thought, well, what if I do an AEW recap show every week? I get along with Kevin, but and it's a famous saying he said. He told me once, Earl, keep me at a distance because I turn on everybody. So you got to admire his honesty, and I keep him at a distance. So getting back to Jungle Boy and Hook, very good match. Someone, I think it was the co-host of the Comedy Store Wrestling podcast, Eddie and John, were like, Hook is the perfect WWE wrestler because he's good looking, he's a great body, very good wrestler. So I hope this doesn't mean Hook is on his way out because Jungle Boy and Hook have good chemistry. So I'd like to see that feud maybe go to the London card at the end of August. It's weird seeing a heel Jungle Boy, but I like it. So there weren't that many matches on Dynamite because of the last match being a lot. And then we had Britt Baker, Dr. DMD. I'm not. I do like AEW women's wrestling. I just like their roster. You know, Willow Nightingale, Tony Storm, Britt Baker, Soraya. Thunder Rosa will be coming back at some point. Who else? I really love Julia Hart. She's kind of like the manager of House of Black. She's a pretty good wrestler, and I like her character, like a goth style chick. And even the blonde girl whose name is escaping me right now. She's not a wrestler, but she's like in the faction with QT Marshall and Johnny TV. I can't keep up with John Morrison's names. And they have also Taya Valkyrie, who's awesome. It's so weird for me to see Taya in AEW when, I don't know, 6 months ago I saw her win the first women's championship in XPW at some shithole in Pomona, and now she's under the big lights. So that's kind of neat. And then you had, so Britt Baker defeated Kayla Sparks. A good match, pretty quick. And I'll assume it was because the main event was going to get close to an hour of TV time. But I think the most distracting thing about the women's match. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I was on Adam Carolla's show Monday. And so if you like Adam Carolla and me, you can go on, he's everywhere, Spotify, Apple Podcast. It's probably the biggest, it is the biggest podcast I've been on. So, and Adam was very nice to me, very good to me. his whole crew, Crystal Marie and his co-host Chris. Well, that was the crazy thing was, I'd never really met Adam before, so I was pretty nervous because podcasts really all boil down to chemistry. It's just the way it is. And I thought, well, we're around the same age, but he's pretty successful. He's probably going to look at me and go, who the hell is this guy? But his producer, Crystal Marie, had recommended me, so I sit down and he is interviewing I think a Swedish scientist, and all of a sudden I see a Cobra movie poster right outside the studio, and as you guys know, that's my favorite all-time movie. I'm like, this is going to be a good interview. And oh, thank you, Dave. And yeah, William, check it out, please. It was really fun, and Adam was really nice, and we had a pretty good chemistry. For our first time really ever interacting on a show. Podcast is all about timing. You got to kind of and he was giving me like verbal cues, like I could see in his eyes. He'd kind of raise his eyes, like wink at me, but I don't want to interrupt him because it's his podcast, and Chris, the co-host, so, I don't want to interrupt him because by proxy, if you interrupt Chris, you're interrupting Adam. But it worked out. There was very few, maybe one moment where I talked over either Adam or Chris, and I think they knew it wasn't on purpose. So yeah, go check that out. It was Monday's episode, and but the most distracting thing about the Britt Baker match was some guy in the crowd had a sign that said OJ did it. And that might be my new favorite wrestling sign. My favorite all-time wrestling sign is years ago on Monday Night Raw, some guy had a gigantic sign that said, Vince McMahon is a homo. And they didn't take it down for a long time. Like, at some point, I think Gorilla Monsoon or Triple H was like, hey, can we get that guy in Section 5 to... we don't want to kick him out, but he needs a new sign. So it's kind of like when you see someone in a wrestling crowd in a WWE shirt. I'm sure AEW like sends someone down there and go, hey, put this MJF shirt on. Although last night I did notice they had someone in the front row with a Shield shirt on, and they didn't have him take it off. So I thought that was cool. So Britt Baker won. I wouldn't call it a squash match because she let Kayla get in some shots, but it was a pretty fast match. And then you had MJF and Adam Cole defeat Sammy Guevara, the Spanish God, and Daniel Garcia in the blind tag team eliminator. They will now go on to face FTR on Collision. Very good match. I mean, all four guys are great wrestlers. Very funny opening segment where they had like a dance-off. And you could tell at the end of the match that they kind of teased tension between MJF and Adam Cole. And then they hugged, but MJF kind of gave him that dirty look again. And I think people forget that Adam Cole in NXT was kind of a heel. So it's not unprecedented that, everyone thinks MJF's going to be the one that turns on Adam Cole. I have a feeling it might be the opposite. And I don't know how I feel about that because I do think that, sorry, I'm using my Sid doll as a back scratcher. Oh, that feels so good. Using my Sid doll as a back scratch. It's the perfect size back scratcher. I don't want to see them turn MJF face. I just think he's better as a heel. But he is going to need a pretty big match on the London card. So we'll see what happens. It's who knows. And then we have the great 5-on-5 matchup as the main event, Blood and Guts, and it delivered on the Blood and Guts. It was the Blackpool Combat Society, which is Claudio, Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, Takeshita, and Pac. Pac was added to the group last week. It was kind of a surprise, but I liked it. I met him once at a comedy show, and he's not the biggest guy in the world in terms of height, but he's very intimidating. He's got that stare, and he's got an energy to him. You know, like when LA Knight walked into the Comedy Store, he has an energy to him, but it's kind of a fun energy. You know, he definitely commands the room. Pac has that same energy, but it's like a darkness, like a bad guy. So I hope he's used more, because he didn't necessarily fit with the Republic of Lucha, which ironically enough was where I met him at a comedy show at the Republic of Lucha store in Pasadena, and and then on the other side, the Golden Elite, Kenny Omega, my favorite, the Young Bucks, the great Adam Hangman Page, and his AEW debut, Kota Ibushi. So you had a reunion of the Golden Lovers, which was a great tag team in New Japan. And, you know, the match delivered. I mean, and I'm not sure how I feel, to be honest with you, about all five guys in the ring battling each other. So it's basically a 10-man battle royal. But it was, you know, because you just lose focus at some point. Now, I do like how they do it at first. You know, it was you know, kind of like a Royal Rumble type thing. And, you know, it started out with Claudio, and then Kenny Omega came out. And then I think it's every 2 minutes, someone else came out. And, you know, it was kind of neat to see Ibushi in an American ring, especially reunited with Kenny Omega. That was pretty neat. Like, that's pretty, you know, and here's the problem with AEW is that, and it's not really a problem because, you know, they cater, I think, to supermarks. And I'm not really a super mark, to be honest with you. I'm a super fan, but I'm not a super mark. So even I had to brush up on the history of the Golden Lovers. So I thought they could have done a better job introducing Kota Ibushi to the American crowd, because the casual fan doesn't know who he is. And it's also, you know, so they don't get the significance of him and Omega reuniting, which I think down the road could set up a turn by the Bucks on Omega. And then if they chose to put Omega in a tag match at London, it could be, I'm just saying this is, if I were writing for AEW, I would throw out this idea of the Bucks turn on Omega, and then the Golden Lovers reunite officially as a tag team. And that'd be a pretty neat match. Now, the only thing is Ibushi looked a little sluggish, and he looked a little pudgy for him. Now, if I had Ibushi's body, I'd be very excited. But, you know, he's usually pretty ripped and jacked, and he's a little pudgy. But I'm sure he's been traveling all over. Lois did just wake up. Let me see if we can... oh, she's right there. It's very hot out here in Los Angeles. So she is watching. Lois be chilling right now. But she ain't down for the wrestling talk. I'll tell you that much right now. So, and then, you know, in terms of the stunts, and I mean, it was a little bit of XPW, to be honest with you. Very much, you know, thumbtacks, a spiked board, you know, probably I don't know, half of a table that had metal spikes. And, you know, that was tough to watch. I think both Omega and Moxley landed on it. Um, yes, it is. It's very, very hot in Los Angeles right now. It's hot for us. I mean, it's not like Death Valley hot, which I believe yesterday was 130. Vegas, I have friends in Vegas, was 117 or something. So it's but in LA it's probably 95, but it's a dry heat, like Bill Paxton said in Aliens. So Lois loves the hardwood floors by the door. Um, but the what else was there? There's no barbed wire last night. I think everyone bled for the most part. There's scissors. Very. I don't know if that was a tribute to the Abdullah the Butcher episode on Dark Side of the Ring the night before. I think there were screwdrivers. Where do you live, William? Knives, all kinds of wackiness. I would say, per usual, Moxley bled the most. Wheeler Yuta bled a little bit. I think the Bucks both bled. They hinted. Probably the most impressive thing was the one of the young Bucks and Yuta were on top of the cage, and I thought they were teasing some wacky Undertaker Mankind type bump, or they were both gonna fall through. Okay, home of the wire. I thought they were gonna tease maybe both of them falling through the cage. At one point, they were getting pretty close to the cage, and I thought, oh boy, they're gonna do a backflip onto a table, but you better practice that. So, because you could see Yuta look over the cage, like almost seeing, almost looked like he was seeing where the table was, but they did not do that spot. And then, so the end of the match was a little quick. Maybe they had gone too long and they had to get it over. But the Golden Elite beat the Blackpool Combat Club. I think the weirdest thing was toward the end of the match, Pac and Claudio got into a beef, and Claudio just walked out. No, I'm sorry. Pac just walked out. He just walked out. So he quit, like toward the end of the match. And then Don Callis came down and Takeshita quit. So it was basically a 5-on-3 for the last few minutes. Now, I don't know if someone got hurt. I don't think either did. But if they did not get hurt, which I would not be surprised if someone got hurt in this match. I mean, it was a pretty violent match. Very violent for AEW. I mean, really nothing compared to what I've seen in XPW. I mean, you want a real blood and guts match, have Schlack and the Necro Butcher go at it. But I don't think they could televise that. It gets a little too much, even for my taste. Um, so, and that was it. It was a very good match. I don't know if there was like an oh my god moment people are talking about today. Maybe with the spots on the top of the cage with one of the Bucks and Yuta, because it was very impressive what they were doing up there. But I mean, all in all, I would give Dynamite last night B plus. I mean, I think people are probably talking about Hook finally losing. Um, so I did like every match. I don't think there was a bad match. It was a good card. I mean, I tell you what, Collision's been killing it lately. That tag match last week between FTR and Jay White and Juice Robinson, my God, that was one. And now it's 2 out of 3 falls, so it's about an hour. But my God, that was, oh boy, I don't want, it's fresh, but it might have been the best tag match I've ever seen. Like, you know how in an hour match, there's a spot where you pick to go to the bathroom or, there's like a slow spot so the guys can rest a little bit. I did not want to miss a minute of that action. So a shout out to FTR, Juice Robinson, and Hook. I'm sorry, Juice Robinson and Jay White. It was a great match. And now they are FTR will be facing MJF and Adam Cole I think this Saturday on Collision. Collision's killing it. The ratings aren't great, but someone pointed out to me for wrestling the ratings aren't great, but for TNT they're killing it compared to their other shows. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with the ratings. If you compare them to NXT, Raw, Dynamite, hell, probably even Rampage, they're not succeeding. But if you compare them to their regular program content, they are succeeding. So I'm sure they want the ratings to be better, but I'm sure TNT's happy in terms of TNT probably doesn't care what's on as long as the ratings are good. So, on Saturday night for a wrestling show, it is questionable. I don't know what a better night would be. Maybe Thursday night because there's no competition. But going into the fall, you're gonna have college football on. Baseball's in the height of the playoffs. What up? What up, Jason? Hold on, I think I missed a question from William. I don't want to miss a question. More. Yeah. Oh my God, XPW has twice the blood as ECW. I mean, it's insane. The last time, before I go, I will tell you this. So I'm at the 2 XPW cards ago, and the main event I think was Schlack against Masada, and I get to go backstage because I'm known in XPW as like a super fan, so they let me just walk around wherever. So I'm standing in what would be the gorilla position, where all the TVs are and the producers and Rob Black, the owner. And all of a sudden, my buddy Hardbody comes up to me and goes, "Hey, can you go to 7-Eleven?" I'm like, "Well, I don't want to miss the main event. What do you need?" I thought he just needed like a soda or something. And he's like, "Well, there's a big fire stunt, and someone forgot to get the lighter fluid for it." I'm like, "Yeah, but dude, I don't. I have friends of mine who are stuntmen. I don't think they get the lighter fluid at 7-Eleven. It's a very specific type of lighter fluid. It's not oil based, so there's a muffling of the flames, if that makes any sense, that there isn't on the 7-Eleven lighter fluid. So I go down to there's a 7-Eleven right down the street, and the guy wouldn't sell it to me. He's like, "I'm not being involved in a fire stunt gone wrong, but if you go to the liquor store across the street, they'll probably sell it to you." So I go to the liquor store. I'm like, "Hey, I need some lighter fluid," and the guy's like, "Well, what do you need it for?" They're doing a wrestling show down the street, and he's like, "Oh, XPW here," and he sells me Zippo fluid. So I drive back to the event. It's at the Derby in Pomona, if you guys are familiar with where that is. And Schlack, the opponent, looks at it and goes, "I don't know, man, but I guess it'll do." And then I told Rob Black, "Hey, man, I have friends of mine who are stuntmen. I don't think they'd use this." He's like, fuck it, it'll be all right." And Masada has a beard. So the first fireball, he spritzes it in his mouth, and it kind of starts to drip into his beard. But the first fireball was perfect. And then the second fireball, I think some of it got into his beard, and his whole face and really torso got caught on fire. And the producer was like, "My God, we gotta stop the show. We gotta stop the show. He's on fire. He's on fire." And Rob Black just looks at me and goes, "He'll be all right." And he ended up being all right. I think he had some second-degree burns on his face, but it was that's Lowe's. So that's XPW in a nutshell. They're involving a fan to go get the lighter fluid. That ain't a good sign, brother. So that covers my AEW Dynamite results. I thank you to the 5 people listening. If you have any last minute questions, ask them now. Follow me on all social media: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, obviously. Earl Skakel, it's just my name everywhere. Some comics have like a different name for each social media site. I don't. I've got one name, and that's just how I do it. But thank you guys for listening. Bye, William. Bye, Dave. And watch the Adam Carolla show from Monday. Well, I think, like what happened with Cody Rhodes when he was in AEW, and I'm sure they had the right kind of lighter fluid, but I think whoever put the fluid on the table did too much, so his back caught on fire, if you remember that. It's probably why he left AEW. It's like, fans didn't even applaud that much. I just set myself on fire, basically. So, XPW, I mean, it's a palate cleanser, um, you know, but it's very, very violent. Light tubes, barbed wire, wrapped baseball bats. They have this one thing where they have a big piece of wood and they put all these soup cans on it and they cut the soup cans in half. So when a guy lands on it, he's landing on the jagged edges of half-cut soup cans. Like it's pretty wild. And I thought it was like gimmicked barbed wire because I saw the guys making it. So I'm like, hey, can I touch these? And they're like, yeah, go ahead, Earl. And it's real barbed wire. Like it's real soup cans. Like they're not gimmicked. So if you're ever in Pomona on a Saturday night, I think they do like every 2 to 3 months they do a card out here because they're now East Coast based. I know they do a lot of cards in Jersey. And, hit the like button, share, retweet this if you can. Help me crack that mother effing algorithm. And I will see you guys soon. I don't know what that means. I hope it's not a gang signal.